Hey, it's Stu, and today was book sale day, which I go to usually weekly for the Friends of the Library, where I donate and purchase books for free and cheap. Well, you get some with your membership, and spend time talking with other book enthusiasts about books that they are donating and or hauling. And or have read that are just happen to be on the shelves. It's a great time. So yeah, I this is why my hauls are normally really big. I do go to little free libraries, but not as often because of just life changes in transportation mostly. And I do go to thrift stores, but as well not very much anymore. So it's kind of focused on that. So the good news is that my unhaul to haul ratio is now, I'm hauling more than I am hauling. It's back there because yeah, I'm overhauled, but justify it every single time. So we will proceed without justification. The first book I want to talk about is this PG Woodhouse's Ring for Jeeves. This is a little satirical, funny romp of a book. There was another one that was also on the shelves. So one of the volunteers and I took one each, and we are going to read them soon-ish. Another person had read them and thought that they were, witty, dry wit, and fun. And I plan to read this soon. So with that, I'll say a couple words about my mood reading summer, because in my reading review, I was like, normally I feel really compelled to look for sort of like the oldest or older books on my shelf, and make sure that I'm reading them. And this summer I seem to be reading a lot of recent hauls. And then upon very little reflection, of course, if you're mood reading, it makes sense that you read what you've hauled most recently because you're really in the mood for it. You're just that sort of dopamine boost from hauling books is still fresh, and you remember why you hauled the book and what you wanted to read about it. And so the enthusiasm kind of persists, and therefore it makes total sense to me now upon reflection why I've been grabbing recent hauls at a way greater volume than I ever have, because I am using no other sort of prompt or reading challenge per se than just what I'm in the mood for. I went to a local, close to my neighborhood, independent bookstore, and I exchange some books for credit. And how they do their credit is that you get credit for, however much credit they give you, and then you can use it as for 50% off of their used books or 25% off. It can be up to 50% is what I mean you can use the credit for up to 50% of the used books and 25% of the new books. As I primarily live in the used book space, I sold them 5 books and I came away with 4. So one of those books, and it was a very sort of like the Continent of Asia haul, which you'll see in a minute. The first book is The Idiot by Elif Boutman. This, as advertised on the cover, was a Pulitzer Prize finalist. I'm thinking 2018, 2017, 2018. Like the mean year of books that I find in the thrifting and free space. I just haven't come across this one, and it is, I do have a like kind of wish list that I look at when I use Book Outlet or go to used bookstores. So I was happy to find this off my wish list. This is an immigrant from Turkey going to, I believe, Harvard. So not necessarily my vibe, but the college student vibe. Yeah, in that kind of age group and setting and finding yourself. That's what's up with this book. By the way, quick Side note, I don't give too much synopsis of books because I myself don't like too much synopsis going into books. In fact, I'll always giggle when I think a book's going to be something it completely isn't. Wish list books I happen to know enough about for them to be on my wish list, though. So Emi Yagi's Diary of a Void. I found her the museum book in a little free library, and in the spirit of like this mood reading, I wouldn't be surprised if I get to this before the one that I held previously. But this I know is about a girl who moves to Tokyo and she pretends to be pregnant. Oh yeah, The Seven Moons of Mali Almeida by Shihan Karunatkalaka. Okay, Booker season is upon us. Last year I just read, because my library was about half of what it is now, I just read authors who had been longlisted at any time for Booker prizes. This year I plan to read as many former readers, winners, as I can get to, more or less, in the month of September. And this indeed was a winner. 2002, as the cover advertises. And I know this deals with the afterlife, which is a theme that I really like in books, and this is Sri Lanka during the Civil War. So super excited about this. I plan to do a TBR video of the books of the Booker winners. Maybe even shortlist or longlisted, it's fine, but I want to try to prioritize the winners this year, if I can. All right, this is Shukufe Azar's The Enlightenment of the Green Gage Tree. I know there's a lot of magic realism in this book. This book takes place after the revolution in Iran, so 80s, early 90s. The translator is unnamed, and the author is in trouble for having written this book. Yeah, this is also Europa Editions, which I'm super excited about. My Europa Editions smaller shelf is full, so I think that I'm going to have to treat it. I think that I haven't been reading them as much because I like how they look on the shelf, all uniform, but I think I have to treat this like mystery thriller, which we're going to talk about in a second, in that I'm going to need to read a couple of books off of that shelf so that I can fit my most recent hauls on it and it still look the way that I want it to look, which is fine. Okay, Middlemarch by George Eliot. I mean, is this the edition that I want? I don't know. It was $1 because that's what mass market paperbacks cost. And in much discussion, I have never read Middlemarch. I have never read George Eliot. I am almost embarrassed to say that thing because I'm such an avid reader, and I'm consider myself a pretty moderately to moderately high well-read person, and I feel like this is like quintessential, if not quintessential reading for the kind of reader that I am as well. So I forgive myself. It is a very big book. This book is 797 pages, the one I have in my hand. I of course will have to use some library digital copies because the font in this is unforgiving and it goes way into the gutter. And I decided to have the physical copy to remind me, and then to put this on, because next year my plan is to kind of be my year of tomes and to read these big books that I keep avoiding. So that's what made me say, yep, Middlemarch needs to be on my very small double triple stacked classic shelf to remind me of that plan. The Long Form by Kate Briggs. Look at this beautiful book. And this book obviously is a bit is experimental. It looks like sort of like a vignette. It's about a mother and her nursing baby, and sort of musings therein. And I have really enjoyed books written in sort of like vignette and musing form, and that take these sort of experimental forms. So I thought, and this is a beautiful book. So this will be a display book. Look forward to seeing it probably. Generally means I have to read one of my display books, but sometimes I just shuffle them around. Okay, The Murmur of Bees by Sofia Segovia. This is translated by Simone Bruni. Okay, this book takes place during the Mexican Revolution. This is a translated book, and I did find that my library has the Spanish version. So I think I'm going to do with this book like I did with Eva Ballastar's Boulder, and that is read it both in Spanish and in English. And that might look like I read the whole thing, although this is quite a bit bigger book, or it might look like I read one chapter in one and the other chapter in the other. But that's where I'm going with this. This also could be a buddy read for a friend who is trying to learn Spanish and doing that exact thing to help their Spanish acquisition. Speaking of books in translation and Mexican authors, this is The Book of Eve by Carmen Bujosa. Look at this cover. If you know, you know. I just read Texas the Great Theft by this author, and I liked her writing. It was also by Deep Vellum, which I believe is in Austin, Texas, indie or imprint. This is the retelling basically of Genesis from Eve's point of view, and I am here for it. I actually was like, okay, I want to start reading this book right now. That's how excited I was for this book. But I think I'm gonna hold off and read this in October. The River Spirit by Leila Abuela. And Abulela. Yeah, Abulela. Sorry. I just was like, wait, did I just say grandma? Indeed, I did. It's not translated. But this book is about the Sudan during the war, and it's going to be heartbreaking. So hopefully I have other lighter reads to read around it. Look at this beautiful cover. What a fantastic find. Okay. Now we're going to get into mystery, thriller, and fantasy. So let's do fantasy first. Here we have a cozy. I believe this is a cozy fantasy. This is by Peng Shepherd, and this is called The Cartographers. I really had to sit and think quite a bit. Did I have this book already? Did I read this book? Like, I know I didn't have a book of the month version because my book of months really stand out in my mind, but I was like, this book just felt so familiar, even in its premise. So we have the premise is that I think the father has passed, and there's a young woman, and I think it's Hong Kong, that she, well, the father's found dead in the New York Public Library. So let me actually read before I just start like completely inventing things. Anyway, she finds the daughter of this famous cartographer finds a map. Yeah. And therein ensues this sort of fantastical mystery to understand what happens, what this map is for, and what's going on with this map. Seems fun and a little bit cozy, and probably not that necessarily intellectually cumbersome or demanding is the word I'm looking for. The City We Became by N.K. Jemisin, however, is an urban fantasy, and this, I believe, I mean, all I can deduce from this is New York, and sort of New York as a setting, but also as a major character in this book. Yeah. A glorious fantasy. That's what it says. Look at that. Like, I can't look at it too much without giving me a headache. In any case, Yeah, I got time for a little urban fantasy. I haul fantasy, and then like Black Sun, which I've had now for over a year, and deeply am excited to get to, but just don't pick up my fantasy as much. And there's a couple I want to get to before this one, and I don't have fantasies mixed in with my general fic, so I don't have a sort of system like my mystery thriller that sort of allows me to really contemplate. Like, I have to read it on haul on mystery thriller shelf. Speaking of which, I have this, The Killers of a Certain Age by Deanna Raybourn. I contemplated not getting this, and then one of the volunteers was like, get it and read it, and then let me know if you really like it, and then give it to me. And I thought, say less, which means that I'll get to it even sooner, which is fine. I don't have any kind of feelings about which mystery thriller should come off. I have read 2 mystery thriller, sort of horror, on my mystery thriller / horror shelf that have come off recently, so I have space. And here is a book that's going to take a space on that, and that probably is going to live down this most recent haul, most recent hype, mood reading of the summer, especially since I have someone who's like, okay, read it, and then pass it along. That almost always motivates me to throw something into my current or coming up TBR. Now, this is going to have to be read in the Book of Tomes. This is volume 1. There's another volume. So that was a brave thing to do. I thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. This is translated fiction. Karo Takamura is the author, and the translator is Alison Marlin Powell. And can you see this? I mean, it really was the cover made me do it. That's actually the book. That's the book, the actual hardcover of the book. And then this is the function of the dust jacket. And I just cannot get enough of that. This is a mystery suspense novel that looks at the underbelly of Tokyo. So it feels a lot noir to me. I can't even see in those margins because this book needs, like, I feel like I'd have to crack this spine to a degree that I might not be willing to do. How is this not going to be a display book? Where am I going to put this book on display? These are the questions that I need to answer before the end of this summer. I did add it to my tomes because this is a very big book, and if it's not that big, it's only 520 pages, 530 pages, but it's got 2 volumes. So I found it tomey enough. That's all I have to say. Like, I hereby swear to read this book. This book will get read in the next year, I hope, while I'm reading my very big books, 1 per month or as such. And it took me, I mean, it's that fantastic cover. That's the back of the book. It just, yeah. Yep, that's why I got it. And maybe one day you'll see it in a review video. So what's happening next? I'm going traveling. I may or may not do a quick wrap up just so that I cannot worry about wrapping up the books that I read while on vacation. Just skip that part so I can just let them go in Oregon. But I have several days of reading until then, and I might just do, because I won't do a wrap up, I might do a like TBR, because I do plan to take like a small stack of books, plus of course my iPad with, I mean, dozens upon dozens of books checked out on Libby, because if you want to mood read, you got to have like them all out there, and that just promotes the options to be able to mood read, and that's what I've been doing. So that might be what's next. Stay tuned for that in the next few days. If not, then it's not likely that I'll be making another video for a couple of weeks until I get back. and then start the whole sort of reading review and hauling, and TBR's coming soon, coming in September. So we have a while to that too. Anyway, please, I hope you're enjoying your summer and reading anything and everything that you're able to, that brings you joy, that makes you feel challenged, and that you want to. Until next time.